Welcome back, Irish fans. If there's any left, Notre Dame probably reached a new low tonight against Boston College. Last year, Boston College matchup we thought was a new low, and they proved us wrong. There's about 5 minutes left, the earliest I've ever started a post-game show, but this one is essentially in the books, so some of the stats might not be completely updated that I say, but this one is completely out of hand and has been for a while. I hate that this is the new norm this season for Notre Dame men's basketball, but we've gotten there. I think instead of doing a Kentucky preview show, I'm not sure how many of you care about that game right now. We're going to do something that looks into the future of the program. But, yeah, I mean, this was ugly for Notre Dame. From the start, 7-0 Boston College lead, and then Boston College just ran Notre Dame out of the gym pretty much like really early. So frustrating with this class. It's just been the same story over and over and over again. Same issues, out-rebounded, out-hustled at times, coming out flat, losing to a team that they're better than. It's just, like I said, a new low. When the offense is bad when Mike Brey starts calling sets, and that's kind of what happened today. BC should normally be a get-right game for Notre Dame, and it was far from that today. I think there was this Dane Goodwin turnover. I don't know how many people remember this or saw it, where Goodwin he was trying to get to Hub on a break, and there was like three or four BC guys, and he just threw a lazy pass, and Bickerstaff got a wide open layup off of it. And then like 2 possessions in a row after that, they had turnovers that led to wide open baskets. Kind of just a microcosm of this game, just sloppy play from Notre Dame. Couldn't really hit a shot when they needed to or when they didn't need to. Just didn't have it tonight, and they haven't really had it much this season. Illinois, they had it a little bit in the second half and towards the end of the first half. Texas A&M, they had it the first half. They haven't been able to put a complete game together against a solid team. Even in the first half of the Chaminade game, they haven't done anything. So they're going to need to obviously do much better than this. The Elijah Taylor thing, end of the game with McIntosh and Langford, where they kind of got into it. I don't want to over dramatize it, but I don't think I've seen something like that happen with them since I started covering the team. Just kind of shows the frustration level around the team, and shows this is kind of a new low for this team, and maybe one of the low points of the Mike Brey era. The one bright spot, if you want to pick one of those out of tonight, I'm sure many of you don't, was Prentice Hub. As of now, with like 3.5, 4 minutes left, Prentice Hub has 15 points on 5 of 7 shooting and 3 from 4 from 3. If you told me that was going to happen at the beginning of the night, I would have been fine with that. I would have been happy. Prentice Hub's best game of the year by far. Comes in a huge loss, unfortunately, but long term, that's a good sign. Prentice Hub just needs some confidence. He just needs to see it go through a few times for him, and he got it. Trey Wertz, on the other hand, has still not had a good game. Had 2 points tonight. Hasn't scored from the field yet with about 4 minutes left, and just looks out of it. Doesn't look like he's really in their offensive flow. Doesn't look like he's shooting it well. He isn't shooting it well. Just doesn't look that confident. Looks invisible at times. And Trey Wertz just hasn't brought it this year. Everybody's piling on Hub this year, and I guess there's good reason for that. But Trey Wertz has been quietly bad for this team, and they're going to need a lot more out of him. I really like Trey Wertz as a person. I like his game to an extent, but this has got to improve for him. Elijah Taylor didn't give you much of anything tonight. He also didn't have much opportunity to, partly to his fault because of the whole thing with the McIntosh and Langford thing. But yeah, Elijah Taylor, you got to get more from if you're Notre Dame, and they couldn't do that tonight. I don't know why they're not going to the bench guys sooner. Just get some energy in there. This team looks completely dead right now, and for good reason. They're just not playing well at all. Going to the starters, I'll talk about Blake Wesley starting over Prentice in a second. I want to go through every starter's performance for now, though. Dane Goodwin probably had his worst game of the year, 5 for 14, 0 of 6 from 3, 10 points, which 10 points doesn't look bad on the surface, but the efficiency was bad. Couldn't hit threes, which Dane Goodwin has to do to be successful. Not a good game for him. I kind of jinxed him by giving him some recognition. Cormac Ryan, somewhat invisible tonight at this point, has 3 points on 1 of 5 shooting, 1 of 5 from 3. They need a lot more from him. He has far too many games like this for a guy who is as talented as he is. And Cormac Ryan just has to be better. He has to take a step for this team to be good. And we've seen it at times. We've seen Cormac Ryan have really good games, but they need him to do that more often. And he hasn't to this point. They're going to need a lot from him if they want to turn this thing around. And it's not looking like they're going to get that right now. So they absolutely need more from him. Blake Wesley, I thought maybe had his worst game today. 4 turnovers, 4 13, 2 of 6. Did have 10 points, but it looks like he was really forcing it all night. Wasn't a huge fan of what I saw tonight, but I'm completely fine with him having an off night once in a while. Blake Wesley is going to be just fine next year. Hopefully, if he's back, will be the year that he really takes a step. And I'm expecting him to. And I'm expecting to see more great performances like we saw against Illinois, which is why he got the start tonight. I guess I'll go into the start now before I get into the big men. I thought it was a good idea. I mean, he definitely earned it. Before tonight was probably Notre Dame's best player, and tonight they didn't really have a great player. Nate played pretty well, except on the boards, which we'll talk about as well. That's another big issue I haven't even got into. He just brings more intensity than essentially anyone else, and I think it kind of hurts them not having that off the bench, like a little spark. But overall, this was something that Notre Dame needed to happen, and I thought it was going to give them a little bit of a spark. It certainly gave Prentice Hub a spark, and Blake was I think Blake was a little overexcited for this just because he forced the issue a little bit tonight, but he'll be fine. Hub will most likely be fine as well. I wonder if he starts the next game over Cormac, and then they put Blake at the 2, just because Hub was better tonight and has been a little bit better. 5 of 7, 3 of 4 for Hub is pretty good. I'm a little surprised that they made the switch from Blake to Hub. I got tipped off to this last night, and I didn't really think that. I trusted who told me it, but I didn't really believe that Bray would go away from Hub at any point, even if he wasn't playing well. Certainly worked for Prentice. It was just really surprising to me that Mike Bray would go away from his Mahomes, which Hub has been not so graciously named over the years. But I think it was a fine move, good move. I'd expect Blake to keep starting. It just depends on who that's over. Probably Cormac the next game. Maybe it'll still be Hub until Hub can consistently play well, which I don't know if Hub's consistently played well through his whole career, so I wouldn't expect that. I'd probably expect Hub to start next game, but against Kentucky they're going to need something early on. And hopefully Hub can give him that, but man, this was brutal. Notre Dame shot 27 from 3, 39% from the field. And then the big stat was rebounding. Notre Dame got out-rebounded. I don't know why it doesn't. 26 to 37, and it was worse than that. James Karnick had 13 boards on his own. Quentin Post had 5. Paul Atkinson had 4. I think he's been a big disappointment on the boards. He's a good scorer. You have to be intentional about giving him the ball, which Notre Dame wasn't much tonight. He had 4 points, 4 boards, no blocks. So Atkinson, the second straight game under 10 points, under double figures. They're just going to need a lot more from him on the boards if he's not going to score. even if he is scoring, they're going to need more from him on the boards, which is what I think they thought they were getting. Sorry, it's a chair squeak. This is my normal chair, but I think Atkinson is much better than the performance he had tonight. I think most of these guys are much better than what they've shown this far this year. Still 70. I don't think the score has changed since I started this with like 4 minutes left. But Paul Atkinson wasn't great tonight by any stretch. Nate Laszewski, 3 for 4 from the field, 2 or 3 from 3. Pretty darn solid, 9 points. The 9 points is pretty deceiving. I thought Nate played pretty well tonight. And there's 2 more points. Let's see who got it. So I think it was Blake. So Blake is now at 12, should be. But that doesn't make much of a difference. Notre Dame is down 73-57 with about 20 seconds left. And this one was just plain ugly. Notre Dame's got to clean it up on the boards. I don't need to tell you that. This has been an issue for years. They just have to – they got to get so much better. And, man, this is brutal. Good sign. Another one was Paul Atkinson had no knee brace tonight. I mean, he didn't play all that well anyway, but it's good to see that he's healthy. And they should have more good performances from him in the future. He was a bright spot early on, but has really faded these last 2 games, partly due to who he's playing. Big jump based on who he's played in the past, but the shooting has to get better. And I think it probably will at some point. The rebounding has to get better. I'm not sure that will. This team's just got to pull. I hesitate to say they need to play harder because I know they're trying, but they just have seemed to come out this year in some games with just no energy whatsoever. Cormac's now 1 for 7. And this is just ugly in all aspects. I think this is a new low for Notre Dame. And Mike Bray's job security should be Mike Bray should firmly be on the hot seat right now. I hate to say it. I thought that he should have got another year after last year with the senior class, but unless they think they're going to lose J.J. Starling in the 2022 class because Bray leaves, then it's hard to see a reason why he's back other than him just having a long tenure with Notre Dame and them not wanting to fire him. This was bad, though. Like, this is maybe the worst Notre Dame game I've ever covered. I hate to say it. I really hope they get back on a winning streak. This team has the potential to be really fun, really good. They just aren't right now. It's just a really lackluster start to the season for them, and they're going to need more from a lot of guys. The only people I'm happy with so far this year is probably Blake. Goodwin I'm overall happy with. Didn't have a great game tonight. Atkinson I think has been all right as well. But yeah, this is not a great way to start your Friday night, folks. But it's about all I have. Sorry for all the negativity. I'm sure you guys aren't being super positive right now either. But Notre Dame starts off ACC play 0-1 and really has some digging to do here if they want to make a run at any point. ACC schedule does line up well, but that's about it. Gonna be back probably mid next week with a future of look into the future of the program. But yeah, that's about it for tonight. Have a good night, everyone. Have a good weekend. We'll be back next week. God bless. Peace.